everyone, Dumpster Dolly here. So the two tutorials I'm going to do today is going to start right now with the eyebrow tutorial. Now I did a kind of eyebrow tutorial back in I think August or September that had to do with eyebrows and black lips, but I did not like those eyebrows. Now that I look back at the video, I don't think they were even and they weren't very well, I wasn't very well spoken in that video, so I decided to redo it. So I've already started my face, as you can see. I did my whole face foundation, concealer, powder, contouring routine. So if you want to see how I did that, and if you haven't seen it already, I'll put the link for that video down in the description. I already took the steps that, I already did all those steps one by one. So I primed my face, did a concealer, foundation, etc., etc. So once you have all that done, what I do is I take an eyeshadow base to start my eyebrows. This is I Heart Stage by Essence. I highly recommend this, along with many of Essence's other products, all pretty much except the liquid eyeliner. I don't recommend that, but that's another story for another day. This is actually just a couple bucks. I think it's only like, yeah, $1.99 or something at the local drugstore. I don't know if they have it everywhere, but I only found it in certain drugstores here in Toronto. But it looks like this. It's like a lip gloss wand thing, but it looks like concealer. Like, it does have a tint to it. I don't know if it'll show up darker on certain paler people's skin because I'm not all too pale myself. I'm just going to dot this onto my eyebrow area. It also doubles as a concealer because my eyebrows actually show up as stubble, even though I did conceal them right before I shoot this video. And as you can see, it conceals it a lot better just with the base alone. Now what this is, even though I say it acts as a concealer, what it's supposed to do is it makes your eyebrows last a lot longer. It makes the black look more black when you apply it, and it is less likely to smudge the eyeliner after you've had it on for a little while. So it's always great to have a certain primer, at least if you don't want to use a base, at least have a primer, an eyeshadow primer over your eyebrow area, just because you don't want that eyeliner sliding and smudging around, especially on hot days. So what I do now is I wait for this base to set. 1 to 2 minutes should do the trick, so I'll see you after a couple minutes. Now that I waited for the base to dry and set for these last couple minutes, I'm going to get started on the eyebrows themselves. Now what you'll need is a pencil eyeliner. I'm using one by Annabelle, and make sure it's well sharpened because you want this to be as precise as possible. You'll also need a black eyeshadow. I am using Panther by Wet n Wild. Again, I highly recommend this eyeshadow. It is the best black eyeshadow I have ever found, and it is only $2, so yeah, it's a great deal. Next, you'll need a very small brush. This is a Real Techniques Pixel Point brush, I think it's called. As you can see, it's very small, very flat, and if this is optional, and this is also recommended, you can also use a flat, angled eyeliner brush. And this is by Eco Tools, I believe. So without further ado, let's start the eyebrows. Now, it could be a little bit tricky, and again, my #1 tip with drawing on eyebrows is to just practice. Nobody's going to get good overnight. I don't even think I'm that good myself. I do have these days where my eyebrows are a little bit uneven, or I just can't seem to get them right, just because, like, I guess it's like a bad hair day, but for your eyebrows. I'm recording a tutorial! Thank you! Okay, Millie, start already. I take my black pencil eyeliner to start out with. Again, make sure it's very well sharpened and precise. And I line up my nose, the side of my nose, with this part here. And then I kind of lean the eyeliner against that, so it makes a little mark there. And then I want to see that. I think that is high enough, actually. But if you want it a bit higher, if you want it a bit lower, you can always smudge it off with your finger, and then just draw it lower or higher or wherever. I think this is actually a good spot. And then I do the same thing on the other side. And I try to get it at the exact same level as the other mark. And I don't think that's exactly even, so I'm going to try to even them out here. I think that's a little bit better. Again, you can smudge these off and replace them as many times as you want until you think they're exactly perfect. One thing about me is that I'm a perfectionist, especially when it comes to my makeup and when it comes to my eyebrows. So I'm actually surprised that I like these the way they are because I usually just smudge them off and replace them. Now that I have these little marks on, they could be just dots if you wish, but these end up being lines. I'm going to draw them a little bit thicker, make sure they exactly match each other. And at this point, I'm not even sure what kind of eyebrows I want to do today, so I'll just see how I feel and try to go with it. Some people draw the mark where they want their arch to be, like that. As you can see, my natural arch is about here, so I would draw a dot here and here, and then match those up, like make them even, just like I did with these. But I don't normally do that. I usually just draw the whole eyebrow the way it is. But again, if you want to do it that way, that's how it would be done, is you draw 2 dots for your arches, and then you just play connect the dots, basically. So I'm just going to go right in and get the shape down. As you can see, like I just did, I was doing many strokes just to make sure it's an even, thick black line. Now I'm just going to finish it off here. That's what I like about pencil eyeliner, is you can use many strokes just to correct yourself. And at this stage with the pencil liner, this is when you could take the time to correct any mistakes that you think need to be corrected. Because if you don't like the shape that you just drew on, like if I don't like this shape, I could just smudge part of it off and correct the part that I think needs correction. Now I'm gonna go in and draw the other line and make sure it matches with this one. I think these are pretty even, but I'm not going to leave them this thin. So now for the part where you can thicken them and make them a different, varying thickness, I guess. It's always good to have a nice taper on your eyebrows, so it should flow very evenly and taper out to the thinnest point here. And that's the I guess traditional kind of eyebrows. If you want to do different eyebrows at different thicknesses, that's your choice. Again, I'm just showing you guys how to do a basic eyebrow. What I do is I draw a line going down the very front, like that. See that? To whichever thickness I think my eyebrow should end at. So I'm going to do it a little bit longer, like that. I think it's a little bit crooked leaning to this side, so I'm going to straighten it out. That's better. Then I'm going to do it on the other side and make sure the downward line matches. As you can see, I use my finger to correct any mistakes where I went, say, over the line. This one's a little bit longer, so I'll match that up. Again, this is a very painstaking process, but that's what you're looking for if you want to get the most perfect eyebrows you can possibly do. So now that these are even, I'm going to connect the bottom of this line, with right about here where the arch is, because that's how I like to taper them. Again, you can end the taper a little bit further, but this is how I do it. Again, I'm using little sweeping strokes. Just make sure you can see that. And sometimes I go a little bit into after the arch just to taper it even more, kind of like that. I think that's good. And then it's all about just filling it in. And there you go. I think that looks good. Now I'm just going to do the same thing with the other eyebrow. I'm going to draw the line underneath and taper it out, and I'm going to fill it in. And sometimes I go from this way and go in. Okay, I think I am actually satisfied with this shape. So this is good, right? Does that mean you're done? No. Like I said, that's why I listed the other products. This is how I used to do my eyebrows, just with pencil eyeliner. And I learned that it smudges a lot easier if you just leave it like that and you don't set it with anything. So any kind of pencil, any kind of eyeliner, you always, always, always want to set it with a powder, whether that's an eyeshadow or just a face powder, like a translucent powder like this. So what I do is I take this Pixel Point brush, I put some black eyeshadow on it, and I pat it over the eyebrow. Make sure I cover all the area, because that makes it matte and it makes it a lot less likely to smudge. Now you might get some fallout here like I did on my nose, and the way to avoid that is to actually pat it. See, I made the mistake of smearing it on like that. So if you pat it like this, one dot at a time, you should not have as much fallout. And even if you do, some people like to put tissues underneath their eye when they do it, but I just, I wipe it off and I, like, replace whatever foundation I lost in the process. Also, it's important to keep reloading your brush with eyeshadow as you go, so you don't just end up, blotting the eyeliner around, if that makes sense. And then when you get to about here, you stop, because this brush may be a little too thick for that. I'm just going to go in and do the other eyebrow. Now again, I stop about right there. And then now what I do is I take this angled eyeliner brush and I get some eyeshadow on it. And I dab, again, I don't smear, I dab along the very end of the eyebrow, because this one is a lot thinner than the other brush. Now I use small sweeping motions at the very, very end, but that's about it, just because it's less likely to have fallout when you're doing it there. And that should set your eyebrows nicely. Now this one's a little bit longer, so I think I'm going to just dab my finger on there and remove some of the black. And you may notice my eyebrows are actually a lot blacker now. And I think we're done here. But as a final step, and again, this is just to make sure the eyebrows don't smudge around everywhere, I swirl my powder brush in a translucent powder by Essence, and I dapple it on, or like dot it on, however you want to say it, just press it on. Like, don't swirl it around. And then that should set the eyebrows once and for all. So here is the finished look. So sorry if this dragged on too long. I'm just trying to be as thorough as possible when talking about eyebrows. Hopefully this was helpful to you guys, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye!